Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the Gospel of Matthew. We're going to finish up chapter 4. This is the last of the preliminary things we have, the setup, the prologue, before we really begin the Gospel with chapter 5 and the first of the 5 sermons that Jesus delivers in Matthew's Gospel, which is the Sermon on the Mount. Let's read verses 18 through 25. Walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they immediately left the nets and followed him. And going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, in the boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets, and he called them. And immediately they left their boat and their father and followed him. And Jesus was going about in all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, healing every kind of disease and every kind of sickness among the people. And the news about him went out into all Syria. And they brought to him all who were ill, taken with various diseases and pains, demoniacs, epileptics, paralytics, and he healed them. And great multitudes followed him from Galilee and Decapolis and Jerusalem and Judea and from beyond the Jordan. Okay, there's so much here. Now, in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus sees these guys and calls them, and then they immediately follow. And he uses that word that Mark likes to use, immediately. And we know from reading from reading Luke's Gospel, and from reading John's Gospel, that it didn't quite happen in this straight line. But it did happen. It happened immediately. It happened quickly. These men became his followers. And we're not told in Matthew about the great catch of fish. We're not told about Andrew first being a disciple of John the Baptist. Later biographers will flesh out the story. We just have the thumbnail sketch of the story right now. And what's important for him to establish is that Jesus has disciples who are following him that are special, that he has personally called to follow him as disciples. And then we're told, and these guys are fishermen on the Sea of Galilee, and they own boats. That means they're fairly prosperous fishermen on the Sea of Galilee. That is a lucrative industry, and they own boats, or are owners of boats with their, the sons of Zebedee with their dad, maybe Peter and Andrew as brothers, and they follow Jesus. And then he has this preaching tour throughout Galilee, and people are coming to him from everywhere, from Lebanon, from Syria. When you think of Syria, think of the modern nation of Syria. That's basically the same area. From the Transjordan, and from Judea. They're all coming to Galilee to hear Jesus. Jesus hasn't left Galilee yet to preach. They're coming to him. And we also have the introduction of Jesus performing miracles, all kinds of healings, every category. People who have diseases are healed. People who have mental incapacities are healed. People who have been maimed and have physical incapacities, external physical incapacities, they're healed too. All three categories of folks are healed by Jesus, and that's listed there in verse 24. And then and we are told that everybody is coming to Jesus, and we are primed and ready for him to offer his first discourse. So when we think of Jesus in chapter 5, going up on the hilltop overlooking the Sea of Galilee and sitting down to deliver his message to his immediate disciples and to the crowds, let's understand that in these crowds are people from all these areas. There are not chapters and verses in the original text, So it's important for us to remember that there are people who have seen him perform miracles and know that this is someone to listen to. And there are people from all over, Jews and Gentiles, are listening to Jesus as he opens his mouth to deliver the Sermon on the Mount. And that is where we will begin next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 Good Minutes with the Word.